All right, so for the first section of our hip series, we're going to start with a band connected to something very, very heavy. If you can tie around a sock, lock the door. Squat rack is going to be very, very important. Please make sure you pay attention to the cueing that's about to begin. So breath work, contraction, and the positioning of your ribs, hips, and what you're squeezing when is incredibly important. One thing about restoring any sort of functionality to a tissue is to tell your brain to relax certain parts and tense certain parts. That, or you're just moving around doing weird shit. It's just like the same thing when you do any lift or run. Certain parts should be tense while certain parts should be released. All right, so here we go. So we're going to start with a very thick band. If you guys can see, it's attached to a squat rack. All right, I'm going to get into a half kneeling position. So the band is going to go underneath my butt as high as I can. So I'm going to sneak this underneath my right glute. Okay, I'm going to get my leg down, lots of tension on this band. I'm going to be pushing straight down for this first series, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze my butt. Okay, I literally want you to punch your butt a couple times. Okay, I want you to take a big deep breath in. Okay, I want you to hold your breath and squeeze your butt as hard as you can. Ready? Squeeze your butt. Now relax, breathe out in an 8 count. Ribs and hips together. And you're going to gently, like 1 inch lean forward. None of this rocking back. So you can just feel that stretch going right down the front of your thigh. Again, I'm going to take a big deep breath in. Squeeze my butt for 4. Exhale for 8. Relax my shoulders. Breathe out through my belly. Come forward just a little bit. My back foot, I'm going to make sure it's down. I'm going to do one more of this. So breathe in. Hold. Squeeze your butt as hard as you can. Push right down through the floor to the back of your foot. Tense up your whole bottom half. Let out for 8. And you can come just a little bit more forward to start to feel end range of that hip capsule and the front part of your quad. That should feel really loose right now. We're going to do one more. Take your hands and block that lead leg. Squeeze the butt. Tense, but don't tense your upper body. Squeeze that butt as hard as you can. Empty your air. 6, 7. We're going to come forward just a little bit so I get a little bit more out of that hip, but keeping safe. I'm still keeping a gentle squeeze on the glute. I'm not letting that glute go. I got a little squeeze. We're going to do one more, guys. Come forward just a little bit. Last one, I'm getting really deep, but I'm controlling it through the hip and not going through the back. Okay, breathe in for 4. Hold for 4. Contract your glute as hard as you can. Relax. And 8. We're going to hold it here for a second. Okay, we're going to slowly dismount out of here. Grab onto whatever, come up. Your hip's going to be very jelly-ish. Okay? I'm going to change the camera angle so you guys can see my other leg from a different angle. There's Mr. Peanut. All right, so left leg. Okay, we're going to put that guy in here. Nice and behind so you guys can see. Let me get this on this side. Sorry about that. So from a front angle, okay, there you go. That's a good angle. Okay, you guys can see that deep hip action here. So again, foot's action, I like to point my foot slightly in. I'm going to hip and rib are very close. There's my rib, there's my rib, my hip. So I got that squeeze. I'm squeezing here. I'm not like this stretch. So I'm going to squeeze this up. I'm going to take my hands and block it in here. This actually helps give a little bit more rotation. Squeeze your glute. Exhale. And on the exhale, I'm going to trick myself in a little bit more. Then I'm going to pull back. Again, squeeze your butt. Exhale. Relax a little bit of that glute, but don't completely let go. Just a little bit. We're trying to sneak in there. Okay, come on back. Squeeze that butt. Hard, hard, hard. Squeeze as hard as you can. Come forward. Block. Again, there should be a gentle, so the difference between a full squeeze is you're gripping for dear life and just a gentle little squeeze on the butt just to make sure you don't relax and go forward. Again, last one here. So big deep breath in. Squeeze that butt as hard as you can. Everything's tight at the side. Let go. Gently come forward. Relax the upper body. Excellent. So from there, that's even ooey gooey. We're going to do another one, but we're going to get a little deeper this time. So we're going to go back to that right leg. And this time, I'm going to get, if you guys can watch, what I'm going to do is start a little farther back. About 3 inches farther than I was before. What I'm going to do is start to come in to that end range, which for me is right about here. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys what this looks like from the side. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is what's called oscillations at end range. So I'm going to come in, my butt's still protected. This is as far as Adrian can go while keeping my glutes squeezed. If I go into my back, it's going to look like this. We don't want to train that pattern. Strong core, loose hip. I'm going to sit into that end range, and I'm going to bounce in and out of it with a gentle glute squeeze. You can see that butt squeeze. I'm going to just sit into this. Relax my upper body. Just do little pulses. 20 reps. Just stay. Don't get out of that end range. You want to stay in that. Stay in that sensory area. 20 reps, and then I'm going to get out of that very slowly. Again, it's a lot of stretching on the hips. You've never done deep hip work. Other side. Okay, I'm going to find that deep spot. Now this side I can get in a little bit deeper, right about there. And again, I'm going to work that angle. I'm going to stay in that end range and just dig in a little bit more for 20 reps. Letting go of tension, pushing that hip into the floor with a gentle glute squeeze. If I can sneak that knee even farther, again, getting in there. All right, done. So the last part of this is what most mobility programs lack, and it's tying everything together. So what we want to do now is train this in a full position. Now that my hips are nice and loose, I got to put it under some stress. I'm going to take my band. I'm going to loop it above a squat rack. Okay, now I've got a short squat rack. Kate's has already got a longer one, so I'm going to grab a little bit higher. I'm going to get into a half kneeling position. So my left leg's going to be in front of me. My right, and I'm focusing on this hip, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gently sink down a little bit. And so you need to squeeze your right glute right now as hard as you can, okay? And try to push through your ear so you're really stretching this whole long line, okay? Chest is open, pushing through. It's almost like when you catch an Olympic lift and you go through the window, you're pushing through, and try to breathe right through these ribs here. If you can't breathe through the ribs, that's a key indicator that you're holding on too much with your shoulder or your glute. Try to relax enough where you can feel these ribs start to stretch. Again, you should be holding on with your right glute. You can also sink into that stretch. Now you have to hold on a little bit to your shoulder. You can grab the squat rack and sit into that. Staying long with the arm. Right leg, right glute is still on. Long lateral seam, you're sitting into that. A lot of you will feel this in your low back, your QL. Coming up, again, I'm going to drop straight down now. If you can, drop straight down. Still squeezing that right glute and the left quad. This is our split stance when you catch an overhead lift here. Okay, so you guys can see that from the other angle. Show you guys from over here. Okay, so for my other arm, left arm. So I usually do this on a very tall rack. So my arm, if you guys can see, I'm right here next to it. Okay, and this is my really crap shoulder. Oh, my right leg's gonna be in front. We're addressing the left. Nice and straight here. So you can see my biceps right next to my ear. My left glute is squeezed, not too much of an arch back. I'm gonna sit into this with my ear nice and ear and bicep, and I'm gonna stay tall, don't scrunch up. Stay tall, not too much of a sway back. Left glute is squeezed. I'm going to try to let go of that shoulder and breathe through the rib. This is probably my most strugglesome stretch because I'm trying to let go of my shoulder, which likes to overcompensate. Again, squeezing the glute, teaching that body to relax so I can open up this stuff, and again, I can start to shift over and stretch out that lateral compartment. Still squeezing the left glute, don't let go of that. Excellent, and that's going to commence the banded hip distraction.